Life is a journey filled with twists, turns, and the miles in between.
And every mile matters, especially the ones we walk together.
I'm Tammy Sermon.
And I'm Michael Sermon.
Welcome to Every Mile with You.
This is where we share real conversations about relationships, resilience, and the everyday challenges we face.
And the joy, laughter, and love that carry us through.
From the big milestones to the quiet moments that mean the most.
We're here to encourage you, inspire you, and remind you
you're never walking alone.
Wherever we wander, we walk side by side.
Welcome back to Every Mile with You. I am your host, Michael Sermon, and my co-host, Tammy.
Hi, guys. How are you? We're so happy that you're here with us today.
So we were talking today and thinking, if you were going to define our life, what would you define it as? And most of our friends would say that we are wanderers, right? We like to just travel and explore new things and, drive some of them a little crazy because we have no destination in mind.
No.
When we take off. Just like right now, we still drive 2.5 hours to a meat market we found in Missouri.
Yes, we do.
One, because we really like the meat. I think it's called Heritage. We like the meat, but at the same time, we really love the trip.
Right.
I like getting on the turnpike and shooting up there and getting it done and then exploring. Tammy likes exploring up and then exploring back.
It's called Legacy Meats.
Legacy Meats.
Yes.
That's it. Yeah. Okay. And so if you're ever in
Aurora,
check out Legacy Meats. You should go straight to their
the butcher,
the processing unit and buy them. But now they've opened up a marketplace downtown, and it's a lot of fun. It's very veteran friendly. So if you're a vet, go in there. Make sure you tell them that you're a veteran, and get a cup of coffee while you're there. They make some outstanding coffee.
Yes.
So
they have, if I believe right, they have like different types of coffees. I think perhaps teas and like muffins and things like that.
Yeah.
And they also have specialty products like their homemade barbecue sauces and things like spices for when you're cooking. And it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah. If there's a downside to them, it's that they don't have exotic meats, right? It's meats that they grow, they raise themselves, right?
Well, that's a good thing.
Most of it, right? So it doesn't have all the chemicals and all the the stuff that's added to the meat you buy from the store, but they don't have the venison. And
Michael likes things like ostrich burgers,
right? I love a good elk steak, buffalo. So that's the challenge. They don't have that.
But I mean, regardless, I mean, it is definitely everyone on their staff is just so amazing and friendly. It's very, very, very clean establishment, and the prices of their meats are just very low price compared to the supermarkets here in Oklahoma.
They are, right? So the last time we went and bought meat, the meat was probably 60% of what we would have paid had we gone to Walmart.
Exactly.
So they're not trying to gouge you, and the good thing about it is a lot of their profits. I'm not going to say all of them. I'm not speaking for them. This is just as far as I understand it. A lot of their profits support some of the local ministries.
Yes,
They've got a big outreach that they run, and it really is fun. It's a great atmosphere, good environment, and plus the town itself has some really cool antique stores.
Yes,
and stuff.
Very charming.
And if you're there and you're hungry, right in that same, just around the corner from this meat market is a pizza place.
Yes.
And we stumbled in there one day, and the couple that was running that were some of the most, it was like family. We walked in and we ran into family. It was really fun.
What else? I wish I could remember as we're visiting with you. I'll try to pull that up and get that name to you. But if you guys haven't ever been over in Missouri visiting, it is a wonderful state. It is actually so incredibly close The people there are very friendly and warm, just like here in Oklahoma. And so Michael would say that he doesn't feel they're quite as warm, but I never worked in the business field, so on that end I'm not sure. But as far as your neighbors, those that you encounter in restaurants and downtown, and I will give a shout out to Mount Vernon, Missouri, Walmart.
Yeah.
Their staff there are, oh my gosh, they are so stellar. They are probably the most friendliest people, next to the Irish people that we have met it through the years in Ireland.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, Mount Vernon, Missouri, if you live near that vicinity and you're listening to this podcast, take your business to them. They are worth the drive. I'm telling you, they are the most accommodating, most kind people. And it was really cool because one time maybe I'm saying a little too much, but once we had just recently moved to that community and I was missing family and friends, something awful. And there was a young woman, two women that worked there, and they could tell that my heart was really heavy and they were believers. And before I left there, they asked if they could pray with me. And I'm telling you what, every single time either one of those women were working behind the counter there, I could not help but make myself go through their line because I knew that both or one of they usually always end up working near one another. And one of the ladies, her name was Tammy, and I believe the other one's name was Bonnie, if I'm remembering correctly. But they literally, I walked out of that store a foot taller because by the time they prayed with me, and they didn't stand there saying some big, long, incredible prayer. They just said a short prayer that spoke directly to the needs of my heart. And I felt seen and heard and loved just by my experience. And so if you guys ever get a chance that you connect with someone in a business establishment, make sure that you plug that business because those businesses need us, our patronage.
Right. Oh, absolutely. And, my challenge, though, with Missouri is I have a very highly refined sense of humor, right? I think that my ability to tell a joke is second to none. And on top of that, then I can be, I can just ad lib on the spot. And they didn't get my sense of humor.
Why is that their fault, man?
Well, it is them. It's got.
It's the same way in Oklahoma.
But I have a world-class sense of humor that really it doesn't have to be explained, right? It speaks for itself. But yet you still end up having to explain it.
Right.
So, I think first 10 years of our marriage, you spent more time saying he's just joking.
I really did. It was interesting to say the least, because my family especially didn't necessarily understand. I need to get a sip of water real quick.
But we actually weren't planning to talk about
any of this.
So this is all free.
Yeah.
What we did want to talk about though was our time in Texas.
Yes, just recent. Last month, in fact.
So we'll go way further back. We got married. Tammy had never lived further from where she was born than from Collinsville to what, right? What is that?
Collinsville, Oklahoma. Yes. Yeah, perhaps 30 miles.
She probably never really lived more than, I'll be generous, no more than 50 miles from where she was born, right? I mean, after we got married, the first 20 years.
Yeah, no more 30 or 35 miles. Yeah.
First 20 years of our marriage, she was still right here where we graduated high school. And then
we were 24 or 28 years into marriage before we moved to Texas.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we had the opportunity to move to West Texas. So we went from the thriving metropolis of Collinsville here in Northeast Oklahoma.
That's way less than 10,000 people.
You will know it if you saw it. I mean, Tulsa is a suburb of Collinsville, right?
So Okay.
So but we had the opportunity to move to West Texas. So we moved out to West Texas to, I think there was what,
For
300,
your work.
for my work. So there's like 300,000 people there.
Right.
But God was good to us because the house that we got and what we realized was there, and I'm not sure what's like in other cities, but each neighborhood's kind of its own little community,
Yes.
right? So even though we had a massive city around us, it felt like we were in a small town.
Right. Right.
And so we could go out and we could relax and we could enjoy, our neighborhood,
The immediate neighborhood
park
area.
down the road, and get to know the neighbors and get in this pool in the backyard and all that kind of stuff. So without any real fear. And the only really issue we had the whole time was when somebody came through and cut down our tree.
Yep.
We had
Our
a
tree.
we had a young tree growing in the front yard. It was
A
a
Bradford
Bradford
pear.
pear,
We did not know about the species.
and there's a militant group in the area that is anti-Bradford pear because they're an invasive species. So they would go through, and if they saw a tree, you had a young tree growing, they would chop it down for you in the middle of the night.
What is humiliating, though, is they would cut it down like to where it was like 5 or 6 inches from the ground. Instead of cutting it all the way down to the very bottom of the ground, it was like almost an in-your-face thing.
Well, to be fair, though, they're sneaking onto your property, and they're trying to do
I
it under
know.
cover of night without getting caught.
I know.
And since Texas is a castle doctrine state, they're not just risking getting caught, they're risking getting shot.
Well,
Right.
I know I woke up and my heart was broken because in Oklahoma, our neighbor next door to us had a whole row of Bradford pears, and they were just so lovely. So we just thought for sure that was going to be a lovely addition to our landscape there, and Texas put us in our place. So
I did.
that was that, and no fault of Texas. It was just, and maybe it was very irresponsible for us not to have done our homework, and we did not realize how quickly Bradford pears take over
The native environment.
Yes,
Yeah.
but we've learned, we've gotten better about doing a little bit more reading on things before we go planting them.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Now the great thing about where we lived was right in between the neighbor's house and our house, there was there's like 3 different species of figs that were growing.
oh yes,
So when when they were in season, just being able to go out and pull fresh, pluck fresh figs and eat them was awesome.
it
There's
was awesome.
There's just nothing like it. In fact, we recently planted two fig trees here
Yes,
that are supposed to be able to grow in our environment. And then we've also planted some olive trees because we want to see if we can get them growing.
and some blueberry bushes.
And then they died. They died.
Oh no!
So I planted some blueberry bushes a couple years
they
ago.
none
They-
survived here.
They survived. They just wouldn't produce,
Oh, okay.
even though we have this massive blueberry farm not very far from us.
I
Okay.
don't. We'll have to
And
do some research to see what
so-
we're doing wrong.
So we bought 2 this year that were supposed to be healthy for the environment or for this area, and got them planted. I actually did YouTube it and planted them the way they're supposed to be planted. Make sure everything was fertilized properly and everything. And one of them didn't survive more than 6 weeks.
But we ate blueberries off of
Well,
at least one of
blueberry.
them.
We had 1 blueberry off.
Oh, I thought we ate some blueberries.
No, the one that we ate 1 blueberry
Oh.
off of
That's a bit different.
is the one that just recently died.
Oh no.
So we got to figure out what we're doing on that one. But what we had down there was what was that plant flower that was growing?
Are you talking about the sage, Texas sage?
Oh, we definitely had the Texas sage. That was
Oh,
beautiful.
such beautiful,
Which
gorgeous purple blooms everywhere.
and then we had Sherry and Danny Doolin. They were traveling through, and we had some small ones growing, so we picked them up grabbed some and brought them back. And I don't know if they ever started growing for them. If they
I
died.
forgot to give back them now.
So I'm not sure how they do. Ours that we brought back did not survive.
No, they did not.
But I did on one of my trips to Texas. I was driving and I stopped at the travel center just outside of Wichita Falls, and as you walk in, they had some mountain laurels that were growing, and they're beautiful. I'd never seen them, didn't know what they were. So I stopped and asked the people, and the little lady that was working, one of the ladies was working behind the counter. She was, we were talking about it, and she said, there might be some young ones out there, and if so, let's get you one. So we went out and we dug up she and I dug up a couple of small, I say little ones. I'm inch and a half tall,
right?
Because they keep them mowed down pretty good. But I also picked up some seeds that were around them. And she said, well, the seeds are a waste of time. They will not grow from those seeds.
Mm-hmm.
And well, the live plants died. Remember, I had those in my window for a long time, and they died. But the seeds, I was watching a thing, and it was talked about, you take the seed because they're very hard. They look like M&M, but they're super, super hard.
Right.
It's like almost like a rock.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to abrade them to get down to the little white dendrite layer.
Like taking abrasive to them or something to soften them up?
You can scrape it with a knife.
Oh, okay.
Anything to break it, just enough to see that white. Then
then
you put it in a plastic bag with a wet paper towel and let it soak.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll know when it's soaked enough because the seed starts to swell. And so get water in. And then just plant them. And I've got one of them's actually growing outside.
It's nice. I didn't know.
So,
great.
I've ignored it and it's done well. So I think that's what I'm going to have to do to my blueberries. Okay.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, so it's growing now, so that'll be fun. But all of that to say, when we were in West Texas, what we discovered was right there in the Midland, Odessa area. Almost said there was nothing to do, but that's not true because there was a lot of stuff to do there, right? They had the different children's museums and all of that. It was there. But
it didn't speak to our hearts.
It didn't speak to our hearts until the grandkids were there, right?
Right.
But within just a short period of a short drive from in any direction, we were at something.
Right. Anywhere from and with us, we love travel. We love road time. That's our connection time. And so to us, anywhere, we're talking probably anywhere from an hour and a half to up to a 4 to 4.5 hour drive away, which if you're an avid traveler, that's nothing to most people that love road time. But yes, any direction, north, south, east, west, you could find the most fabulous places. And what I love about being home-based there in Midland was we could go any direction and find basically any terrain that we wanted to be able to find. We were able to experience it there. And so that was really fun.
So someone had told us about the Davis Mountains.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
So we pulled out the map and we jumped in the car and we took off and just started exploring.
That's right. And I believe it was about 4.5 hour drive, wasn't it? If I remember right.
2.5 hours.
I'll check it out. Well, we went so many different places.
Yeah, it was actually about 2.5 hours.
Oh, okay.
Where we lived. But to get there, the journey, right? The destination is always fun, but it's the journey is the true treasure.
Right.
So what we discovered was on the way we had to pass this little town called Monahans.
Yes.
And Monahans has a state park.
Mm-hmm.
And even though everything around us is just chert and dust and all that, Monahans, their state park is true sand dunes. So,
yes.
Right?
We took Butch and Rhonda. Well, we did several times.
Well, we did take Butch and Rhonda, and that's when you stepped on the spine.
The thorn, the gigantic, probably 1.5 inch thorn that went all the way through my foot.
That's kind of crazy. Tell me more. I think it was sandals, wasn't
it? No. Yeah, it was some form of
she wore some form of sandal, which is what you want to wear when you're in rattlesnake country. That's for sure. Yeah. But we're walking and she steps on this thorn and the thorn actually went all the way through her foot. So it was poking out the top of her foot. But she was a trooper. She didn't, I don't think you didn't cuss back then. You didn't. I know you cried.
Yes.
You cried a little bit, but not much. Well, it wasn't a
my
God of
gosh.
cry. It was hey, I got a thorn just stuck all the way through my foot. Back there. But then she pulled it out, and somebody said, "Well, are we gonna maybe let's go ahead and head out?" And I said, "Absolutely not. We're here. Let's keep walking around." And they looked at Tammy like, "Are you good with this?" And she dried her tears and said, "We're here. Let's do it." So then we just kept walking.
We walked around for like 3.5 hours
Yeah,
on that foot. I get
And I said,
silly foot.
and I sound heartless. I did constantly ask her, "Are you okay? You want me to carry you?" Right?
He
That-
did.
So
Like, I'm gonna have to carry me across the desert.
I'm trying to remember if I asked if you wanted to leave. I don't think I did ask that. I think
No, you and Butch were too busy
I
exploring.
was like, "You want me to get you a walking stick or something?" Or we set you in the shade over here, and we'll come out and get you. But
We had the most magnificent time. Of course, we always, when we're traveling with Butch and Rhonda Tobby, we always have
Yeah.
the most thrilling time.
yeah, they were great. Well, we have a lot of really good friends who are
Wonderful, wonderful
great
people.
adventurers with us.
Yes.
Left on their own, they won't go out and adventure.
Right.
But on our, when we can entice them,
Yes.
or just invite them somewhere and they go somewhere totally different.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exciting. But then they get out and explore a different part of life, right? They get to live, they get to live vicariously through our sense of adventure sometimes.
Right. And Butch and Rhonda had told me that before we moved to Texas, that they really never went anywhere. And
Yeah.
so for them to travel and basically there for a while, every weekend or every other weekend, we were all loading up in a vehicle and just taking off and having fun somewhere new and somewhere magical.
Yeah.
Texas is one of the most sensational states in the world, I believe, to do your traveling.
But every state is, right? Every state has its own unique things that are really fun.
Well,
But-
exactly. But what I was
Texas
trying to get
state
to,
parks,
the state
Texas
parks,
state
that's what I'm
parks.
trying
Oh
to
my
get to.
gosh. Yeah.
The reason why I say Texas to me, and I haven't explored every state that's out there, but we have done massive traveling in our lifetime together, and I do mean massive. And of course, the United States being basically our home base as far as travel, we have traveled overseas, but we prefer traveling in the U.S. But anyway,
Yeah, I'm not gonna say that. I prefer traveling in Ireland.
well, of course, Ireland is its own
It's its own
entity,
thing.
completely separate
Yeah.
from every type of exploration. It is,
But I will say,
in its own.
I never slept in a castle here in the U.S., but I did sleep in a castle when I was in, where was that, Romania?
Yes,
So-
you did. But we're getting off track.
digress.
We digress. But what I was trying to get at, and Michael hinted on, and I didn't mean to interrupt him, is that when we first got to Texas, we were, visiting state parks because we love that. We love the adventure. We love the hiking.
Yeah.
But we kept paying full price every time we would go, and it was getting a little costly. And one day we were going through, I believe we were going through one of the parking gates that you have to go through, and someone had asked Michael if we have a state park pass, and Michael was like, "No, I'm not sure what that is." And they said, "Oh my goodness, if you haven't invested in one of the park passes, we encourage you to do so." And we found out back then it was only $75 per year, 70, but now it's 95. But tell them, babe,
Now, with $70, you can get into any of the state parks, and your car gets in. So
right.
if you have one person or 100 people in your car, right, you're on
Like they did back at the drive-in movie
Yeah,
theaters
yeah.
when kids were young.
So it was fun, right? Now, Oklahoma you don't pay for park access, you pay for parking.
Mhm.
So they have the little parking passes that you do.
Right.
And as a veteran, I have the America Beautiful National Park Pass, which a lot of parks now around the world, around the country, will accept that.
Right.
So instead of paying parking, you just leave that on your dash. and then that is covered.
Well, there's 80 or more than 80
there's
state
more
parks
than 80 Texas state
in
parks.
Texas, and we visited I don't know how many.
Trying to connect a wall in one.
It felt like it.
Yeah.
But we had such a fantastic time.
But once you leave Monahans,
Right.
and you continue southwest from Odessa, Midland, Odessa, then you'll come up into Pecos, which honestly, there's not anything in Pecos out there. Well, if you live in Pecos, I'm sorry, I'm not denigrating your town.
Right.
It's just not. It's a sleepy West Texas town.
Right.
It's oil industry area. It is hot. It is dusty. It is dirty. The people are awesome. But there's a couple of restaurants and there's a gas station, and that's really about it.
Is that the one that had the little cottages across from the highway? The like oh goodness, the little Spanish style. Just every one of them were like the little miniature tiny houses.
I thought that was Monahans, but
maybe that is Monahan.
Yeah.
I'm getting confused.
But it might be Pecos. But I always liked it because I always loved the stories. Right.
Oh, sure. Absolutely. And then there, of course, is Balmorhea, which was fantastic.
Yeah, you continue on from there down toward the mountains and get to Balmorhea.
Oh, man.
Balmorhea used to have, of course, the swimming pool, there's a natural pool.
Yes.
Natural spring pool they formed into a pool. Used to be the place in Texas you would have to go for a dive instructor.
And they still do the diving instructing there.
But all along Balmorhea, of course, they have the stream. They've got the streams that go through it and all, and it's just a beautiful little community, right? Especially the old community with the hotels and stuff that are there and the old restaurants. But my favorite was the Balmorhea Rock Shop.
The Rock Shop. We had to make a stop every single time we went through town.
And when you go in, they had a little bowl that had pocket rocks, and me. Was able to take a pocket rock.
Yes, they offer it.
A small,
just a token to say thank you for hanging out with us.
Small piece of agate or something that they've tumbled down, and you have it in your pocket, and you just kind of, that way where you go, you got to get a piece of it with you.
And I can't remember if it was free or if it was like a couple of bucks. I thought they were free. Yeah,
like every drug dealer, first free. Right? Unless you flirt with them, and then she would let you have 3 or 4 free. But
such a sweet older couple, and I believe their son, if I remember right, wasn't it their son, or maybe just somebody that came up underneath them?
I think it was their son.
Just made some of the most beautiful creations.
Yeah.
They're very artsy people, and they such a beautiful couple.
They had antiques and stuff in there as well.
Oh yeah,
and then they would pick up fossils and antiques there in the area, right? Because they lived there for everybody.
Right.
Somebody was digging a new pond. They were there and gathering all the stuff. And that's really cool stuff.
And I think they had like a bartering thing where they bartered back and forth with each other.
And we picked up I couldn't come out of there without spending a lot of money because they would have some really cool stuff.
Really cool stuff.
And they had a lot of agates that they would cut and polish, and those agates were all local. And they were all local agates. They were beautiful, and there's an agate called Balmorhea Blue. And, and it's unique to that area. It's just a beautiful, beautiful rock.
They also had turquoise in that area.
And turquoise in that area. But we were from there. We were looking at the agates, and we were just drooling, and because some of them were way beyond what we would pay.
Right.
But then we went on down into Davis, and what we didn't realize was that in Davis, around as you take the drive around through the mountains, that's where all these agates are dug up.
Right.
Right. So you're driving along, and it looks like the side of the road looks like a bunch of woodchucks or something had got in and started digging.
Mm-hmm.
And it's where people are going in and getting agates.
Right.
So when we got around where nobody could see us, we stopped. Right. Because even though everybody's doing it and you can do it and it's legal, we still feel very uncomfortable doing it.
It's very awkward.
So we would stop and we would walk along, and I'm a surface collector, right? I don't dig for rocks. I don't dig for fossils. I don't want to disturb the ground. But if I find them on the surface, I'll pick them up.
Surface,
Right.
yes.
And then mine are sculpting to get it out, free it from the Earth's embrace.
Right.
But I won't dig down in to find it.
Right.
But we were going along, and there was this rock we actually saw it from a distance, and it was the size of a watermelon, small watermelon. Yeah, we just like, that is really a very unique looking rock. That was a cool looking rock. So I put it in the trunk, and we go and finish our time there in Davis, and then we're headed back. And we stop by the shop again, and we're talking. And I mentioned something about it, and the guy said, or the lady said, "Oh, I want to see it." So I went out and got it, and it was one of the Balmorhea blues, but it was massive. So they kept trying to buy it, but I didn't want to sell it. So I have it out in the garage now. I've never cut it. I don't have a saw big enough to cut it, so it's just sitting out there waiting for
That's cool.
me to decide what to do with it.
That's awesome. Yes. Well, when we learned about Fort Davis and we went on that very first trip, it was just Michael and I, and we said, "Oh my gosh, we have to bring someone back with us."
Yeah.
So there for a while, about every other weekend, we were bringing back a new couple every
Yeah.
weekend. With Michael's work, since we didn't really know anyone, we just decided once we got in Midland, Texas, that we were not only going to make, and Michael always has this mentality anyway, but when he took over that plant, that we were going to not only just become a work family, but that we would purpose, because people that were working in our plant were being relocated and things, and they didn't know anyone either. We all just became like this big extended family outside of his work. And so it just made weekends so much fun. And if you don't have friends that, or if you'd like the idea of traveling, or even perhaps you have traveled and you've always thought, "I wish I had someone to share this with," go out of your way and try to set up a day date with someone where you just go away for a day and hang out. And if that really resonates with the four of you, the six of you, however many you get together, start doing it from time to time, and you will forge these beautiful relationships that are just so incredible, and they're lifelong relationships that you have that just help you get through the days and through the seasons. Correct, babe?
Oh, for sure. It's always fun to explore, right? And the truth is, memories are just a collection of highlights that your brain puts together
Right.
later.
Right.
And it's when you do the stuff together, right? That's where you form bonds. That's where you become united, I guess, or joined, right? You have a shared adventure. You have a shared challenge. You have a shared victory, something that you can always point back to. And, I would go, a guy named Kenny Fields and Butch and I, we would go out and just start looking for rocks, right? Start going out.
They were
hunting.
rock hounders.
We were rock hounders for sure. And there were some really cool fossils and stuff around, and I would find stuff, and was connected with one of the professors there, and we would talk, and she would say, "Well, those aren't in this area." Well, they are in this area. Here it is, and this is where I found them, right? But it was fun because we went out one time, and there was some cliffs. I'm trying to remember the name of the town. I don't remember the name of the town right now. It was over by Snyder somewhere, and maybe in La Mesa. But we were climbing up these
La Mesa. It was La Mesa.
Climbing up these cliff faces to get to find the different.
I believe it was
find the different rocks or the different fossils, and they were everywhere. But I remember I was chasing fossils. You get so focused on it, you lose sight of what's around. Right? So I'm just working my way out, and then I step out onto this little rock ledge to get a fossil that I saw, and it's dusty and slanted, and I slip, Right. So I'm sliding down this rock face, and I just got my hammer in my hand, and I'm just slamming that hammer into the rock, trying to stop it. I finally caught a crack and caught myself. And from about the knees down, I was hanging over the edge of this rock cliff, this rock ledge.
Of course, I wasn't there.
No, she wasn't
because
there.
I would have been panicking and been out of my mind.
That is true. But so when I pulled myself back up, and then we get down, and work my way down, and I'm a little shaky, but look back, and I was 175 feet up. It was about 175 foot straight drop down to these jagged rocks that were down below.
Oh my gosh!
But it was a great experience. I mean, I would go back today. Yeah.
I have no doubt. I remember Vince telling me, you are not going to believe what this man of yours did.
But that's okay, because it was fun, right?
No, it's not fun. You're thinking that until it isn't, and you have a wife that has no husband that's still here.
But we were insured.
I don't want to hear things like that.
Anyway,
so I'd much rather have you here. Anyway, well, and alive.
But these are the same people that we would go take out on adventures, right?
Right.
So when we were in Davis Mountains, over in Fort Davis,
right,
which was really the point of the Davis Mountains for us, was going to the Fort Davis.
Right.
There's the big observatory there. I forget the name of the little actual mountain that's on, Mount Livermore or something like that. But we never could get our timing right to get into.
We never have made it there. I would love to go,
but you have to schedule it well in advance, and we're not that scheduling.
Right? But I do want to mention some of the places, because Fort Davis is just so. It's very, very unique.
True. And we met Tim the Toolman Taylor there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we met a guy who looked like Tim the Toolman Taylor.
Yes, we stayed at a Harvard hotel. One weekend, Michael and I we weren't able to make it back to Oklahoma. And so Michael and I believe it was on our anniversary weekend, we decided to go to Fort Davis Mountains, and we stayed at the Harvard Hotel and lodged there. And it is a very fun lodge, but I was blown away when we walked up to the innkeeper's window and he greeted us. I truly thought I was sitting there visiting with a young Tim the Toolman Taylor, because he looked like him. He sounded very similar to him. I could have swore it had to be his baby brother.
Yeah.
But yes, he definitely looked like a Tim Allen lookalike.
Yep.
And that right there was worth it. Worth the trip to me. But yet it even just kept getting better and better. We went to the restaurant there at what is the name of the restaurant there? Is it called Linnea Hotel and Gardens there, or Linnea? Olympia. The Olympia Garden Restaurant. I mean, it is a hotel that has a beautiful garden.
Yeah.
And this amazing restaurant. And is that the one that we went to? Is that the restaurant that had all the beautiful teacups and teapots and things that were made into beautiful pieces of art that were all over the walls?
I believe so, yeah.
That was fantastic. And of course, the food was amazing. And then there was Blue Mountain Bar and Grill that we went to one evening for dinner. Of course, they had sensational food. I wrote down a list of some of the things that we did while we were there. There's a place called Double Shot Coffee Lounge, and that was a really fun place to go and get coffee.
Yeah.
We visited also, if you just drive around throughout the little town, you eventually, because it's not much of a town whatsoever, but if you weave in and out of the little neighborhoods, you come across the most, it literally looks like you stepped into a Hallmark movie. There is the most beautiful white chapel there with this massive, beautiful ledge that is just mountain ledge that's built around it. And Oh my gosh, every trip we would make there and take friends, we had to take them and show them this beautiful little chapel. And there is also something called Web Gallery, and they are known for the contemporary and visionary arts. That was a lot of fun. There is a really charming little gift store or gift shop there, and it has a lot of artisan gifts. It is called BEATEAK Gift Shop, BTK Gift Shop. And that is a lot of fun. It's kind of a boutique / gift shop, but they have all type of art, or they did. I don't know. I'm hoping they still do. Had all types of artisan type gifts that you can go in and buy for, whether it's for, just thinking of you or to include in your home. And also one other thing, I'm trying to remember that was there. What else was there? I don't want to leave anything out.
Oh, yeah, you had the Fort Davis historical site.
Of course,
Yeah.
absolutely. We need to talk about that.
And then of course the just the scenic drive through the mountains, and the observatory was on Mount Lock.
Mountain Lock. Okay, that's what it is.
So, but just the drive through those mountains and stuff, which was interesting because that was one that we were driving through, and we came around this corner and around this curve, and we ran into some border patrol that were there, and they were making some arrests or whatever, and we thought that was interesting.
Oh yeah, I had forgotten all about that.
And it made you for me, it was a reminder of how dangerous that job could be, right? Because this was one guy that was out there by himself and had about 12 people that he was trying to get off the road and somewhere safe, I think. So
right.
But so that was there, and then we went on down to Big Bend State Park.
Big Bend.
Down through Alpine.
Before we get off, and I just want to mention that Fort Davis is phenomenal. I mean, it's like stepping back in time. Their fort there is, I mean, it still has so many of the structures that are standing that are absolutely fascinating. And they actually are doing archaeological digs. They have certain areas marked off, and I believe, I could be mistaken on that, but if you're interested in archaeological digs, I believe that actually you can ask to be included in on those
at that time.
Yeah, at that time,
be part of it.
And I mean, every time, once again, whenever we would bring our friends, we had no choice but to show them this amazing place. And we've shown several of our friends who were military, and there's just this presence. And when you're there in the evening, whenever they play
reveille or taps, they play taps.
They play taps. Yeah. I mean, your heart.
Yeah.
I mean, wow. You want to talk about a profound moment.
Yeah. If you're there in the morning, they play reveille.
Right.
Early in the morning, and there's just something about that bugle call that just makes your hair stand on end.
Right. It's haunting, but yet beautiful. And
but to be fair, it is hot. It is dusty.
Right.
Right.
That is Texas.
You'll encounter critters that you didn't know existed.
Right.
And it's not a snake is not unknown.
Right.
Sometimes you have to be aware of what you're doing and take plenty of drinking water with you.
Exactly. I'm glad you mentioned that. Now, I apologize. I didn't mean to get off, and you were steering towards some of the other areas that we have visited.
Yeah. I was thinking, from there you go. There's an area not too far from there called Marfa.
Marfa Lights.
Has the Marfa Lights. Google them, YouTube them. It's these
fascinating.
It's these mysterious lights that appear not it's not like clockwork. It's not like 6 o'clock every night they're there. Some nights are there, some nights are not there.
Mm-hmm.
But they're way off the distance, near toward one of the mountain bases, and suddenly these lights just start coming up, and they start floating around and changing colors, and some people can see them, some people can't. That's
Right.
what's weird,
Right.
right? Two people can be sitting side by side, and one can see them, the other cannot.
Well, we both saw them.
We saw
but
them.
some of the people that sat around us at night. They have this
They built a like a observatory or
right
observation.
right?
Yeah.
Where you could everybody drives up. But I don't think it costs a single thing to
It's
go.
not. It's just whoever gets there first gets good seats.
Right. And you want to bring your lawn chair if you don't think about that, and bring a blanket because in the evenings, whenever it's late at night, even in the summer, it gets very, very chilly.
Yeah. And bring your binoculars.
And your binoculars, definitely want to bring your binoculars.
But we went and we were sitting there and we got to, Tammy likes to talk with everybody around her. So
oh, that's you, Michael. That's you.
And she started making friends with everybody.
That was you. That was not me.
But we're just kind of sitting, watching, and talking to everybody, and all of a sudden, out of the corner of my eye, it looked like there's suddenly it's like this, you know, the evening fog, the way sometimes it will come up,
right?
And it's just like a fog just started raising up over
like an eerie fog.
Yeah, kind of like
very eerie,
kind of like Stephen King's The Fog, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, but watch it. All of a sudden, this fog started coming up, and then it looked like lightning or electrical discharges in it, right?
Right.
A pulsing of the light within that fog,
right?
And then you start seeing these lights rising
separate lights.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, some you'd see in the fog itself, but some you'd see them rise above the fog, and they would come up, and then suddenly they would split 2 or 3 different directions with different colors and stuff. Because my first thing was, well, what if that could be a highway or something back there, and you get light reflection
right
off of it, but
there's
it was weird. But then Tammy's neighbor started handing us binoculars to look at and try to get a better view, and just look them up because it is really interesting.
Very interesting.
More so because the people that couldn't see them.
Right.
And I'm sitting there like, they're right there. How can you not see them? And one lady, she's like, look, we come 8 or 10 times a year, and I've never seen them. My whole family sees them, but I can't see them.
I wonder if it's one of those, Santa Claus.
Yeah, the bell, right?
Yeah, the bell.
You believe.
Yeah, if you don't believe, you can't see them.
That's the same. You never could hear that bell.
Hey, dude, me and Santa Claus, we got a thing going, right?
But so anyway, so you spend some time there, and you can actually do that while you're staying at Davis, right? Mm-hmm. And you just shoot down and do that. But then you move on down and go to Alpine, and just kind of explore around and just a lot of different neat things in that area. And there are some old villages and communities that are there that are just fun.
That's right.
You don't have to know a lot about them. You don't have to speak Spanish. You don't have to, just go in and be yourself and be real. Be aware of what's going on, right?
Right.
There's some less than scrupulous people around. But then we made our way on down, down in through Crane and on down into Fort Stockton and, down to Big Bend State Park.
Oh, yes. Big Bend is what you're trying to talk about earlier. Yes.
So you're sitting there and you're looking across the canyon, across the river into Mexico. And
oh, my gosh.
And it is beautiful. And what I love about it is the dinosaurs were found there, right? So dinosaur tracks and dinosaur fossils. So it was really fun. I don't know if the current, the last 3 to 5 years, probably the way everything on the border is kind of going wonky. Mm-hmm. I don't know how safe it is down there anymore. But
I would think, I haven't heard anything bad. I just know how it's one of those things that just take your breath away. It's just so, oh my gosh.
It's kind of like the Grand Canyon, right? It's
right.
bigger than what your mind can really take you.
Right. And that's a trip alone by itself, that if you enjoy camping, or I'm sure I didn't pay attention. Of course, maybe I had at the time, but I don't recall. Surely they have cabins and things that you can stay at.
There were.
I do remember campers. I remember lots of campers.
The cabins were all booked out pretty early. right? So you've got to plan it and go. And
Right.
we cheated ourselves so we can give ourselves
We
time.
should get, yeah, we only stayed a day, and I wish we would have gone back to visit there time and time again. In fact, we have mentioned over the years going back to visit to stay for several days, and that is still on our to-do list.
Yeah. But one of my favorite things when we went down there was this little ghost town called Terlingua, Texas.
That's where this Terlingua, Texas. Yes,
where the
little cottage are, the little tiny houses are across the street from the restaurant or wherever it was we had stayed. I mean, stopped in at.
Yeah, so it used to be a mining town.
Oh, okay.
Right, but it's an official ghost town, and you feel that when you drive through it, right?
You definitely
you don't feel ghosts.
No,
I'm not saying
you're weird
into the ghost adventures thing. Even though they say they
definitely
do.
Yeah,
but you feel it has a weird feel to it.
and you definitely feel a past when you like a past.
Yeah, you know
presence.
It's an old town, and I didn't know until recently though that what they were mining there was mercury.
Oh, okay.
I didn't even mind mercury is something you mine.
I didn't either.
But yeah, that was one of the things that they found out of it.
That's cool.
But plus the other stuff that we mined down those areas.
Right.
But it was really I'm not gonna say it's a destination in and of itself because it's not, right? It's just it's a small and you're not gonna spend much time there. But there's just so much history that's there, and you feel the weight of the history. What you're saying,
right?
You feel the weight of the history while you're there. Now they have some big bike festivals and different things. I understand there that you might want to be careful of the times that you go through,
right?
Because if you think of Wild West and the Badlands, that's probably where it happened.
Okay. Wow.
And I can tell you that none of the 75 or so people that live there are probably going to look out for you because they're going to be trying to make money off this.
No, it's a sweet little community. And that's also one that it's very, very, very tiny, but it is one that we always look forward to visiting. Usually we're going through there to get to somewhere else, but it is fun. And, but yes, we have had so much fun with our travels in Texas. I think I would love to do a part 2 on this because we are actually getting ready to hit the road again.
We are.
And we were fortunate to get to go back to some of our most beloved places. And we'll talk about that in the next episode. Otherwise, we won't constantly be talking about traveling, but we are, in fact, getting ready. Our lives are turning around in a different form, and we are starting to get things set here because we are getting ready to take to the road.
Yeah.
And as we mentioned in our very first podcast, which was just our introduction podcast, we did mention that we will be starting to travel, and we're going to take our podcast on the road with us. Michael has his Lead Well, Live Whole podcast that he also does, and he'll be doing some of that from the road as well. But we are so super excited to just share life with you guys, no matter where we find ourselves at that particular moment. And right now, we just are trying to introduce ourselves. Today, we're trying to come up with what we wanted to visit with you about. And so somehow we sidetracked from where we had intended on visiting with you. And we actually will be talking with you about that our next episode. What we intended on talking about today will be in episode 2. Well, where we spent our vacation this year.
Yeah.
And where some of the places that we visited, our most favorite places in Texas that we decided to revisit this year because it's been many years. It's been about 5 years, I think, since our last major trip to Texas, which is so painful.
not talk about our favorite place in Texas, but talk about our favorite places that we've been.
Favorite places?
Right.
Okay.
Why limited to Texas?
Well, no, we were just wanting, we were wanting to let people know about all these areas in Texas that are all congregated very closely
Yeah,
together
that's
that we
true.
visited. We can talk about both.
Yeah.
We do not have an hour worth of conversation in what we were originally going to talk about. So yeah. So let's kind of pull that together and come back for our next episode, and we'll go ahead and talk about that.
Yeah, 'cause that's hill country, right?
That is hill country.
Yeah.
Hill country is what we want to visit with you about next. Anyone who loves hill country, oh my goodness, you know exactly where our heart is whenever we tell you that there is a reason why we want to talk to you specifically about this, just as we did the Fort Davis Mountains and everything.
But as beautiful as it is, it's not Ireland.
It's
So-
not Ireland.
We were, funny side note, took the grandkids to watch How to Train the Dragon, right?
Yes. How to Train Your
The new new one that's not a cartoon.
Right.
And we're sitting there watching this and talking things, and I told Tammy, I said, man, that looks so much like the cliffs of Balmorhea. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Balmorhea.
Yeah. Our cliffs of Balmorhea.
It's like,
Sorry. Yeah. So it still looks
still
like
in Texas.
I'm still in Texas. That's so much like the cliffs of Moher. It's crazy.
Yeah, I kept
Yeah.
saying it looks exactly like it.
does look a lot. It looks exactly like it could be there. Oh, we looked it up afterwards, and that's where all of that was filmed.
Yes.
And that's our absolute favorite place in the world.
Absolutely. If we could move there and take our family and friends, my goodness, we'd pack everyone up and we would live our lives,
Yeah. There's a little Irish store in that area.
Yes.
Natalie, right?
Mhm.
I guess there's pronounces it Ashley.
Nashly.
Was a lady that was I don't know if she was managing or just working
She was
there.
the owner.
The owner.
Manager, yes.
And we fell in love with her while we were there. She taught us how to navigate with the buses.
Yes.
The buses were bullies.
Yes.
And how to plant ourselves and let them figure out how to get around us.
That's right.
Which made it less heart attack-ish to drive in the countryside.
Yes.
But yeah, next time though, hill country for sure.
Hill country. And this is not just a travel podcast. We are talking, if you sat in on our introduction, you saw that we were talking about anything and everything concerning life and love and hope and laughter, and that's what we hope to continue to convey through every one of our episodes at some point. Like we said, this is not scripted and it's rarely edited. Michael rarely does any major editing because we just want it to be organic and just keep it real with you guys. So,
and then I'm actually surprised that we were able to get this one done today because we've got the youngest grandson here.
Mhm.
And he's normally up and down the stairs all day long, and the dog's normally letting us know every leaf that blows outside.
Exactly.
And they pretty much left us alone. So,
yeah, pretty much. Bogey barked a bit in the background earlier, but yeah, it's been a good day. It's been a great day.
All right. Well, we do appreciate you coming along on this journey with us.
Yes.
And we look forward to the next time.
We go where the wild